Oh, the Megala Bowl is back. This is your shot to jump in the biggest fantasy league we do. Draft against other listeners, survive your 12-team league, and try to make a run through the Megala Bowl playoffs. It's free to enter for Foot Clan members, and the winner gets in next year's listener league. And yes, bragging rights absolutely matter. Draft spots are filling up, so go grab yours now at megalabowl.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in. We're back again.
Check it. I mean, we're back every day.
I know. We never leave. We even have a extra episode this week.
Oh, that's right. We have a very important extra episode hitting on Saturday.
A very special edition.
Today is Thursday, August 27th. We have a mock draft show today. We have the Fantasy Football Time Machine tomorrow. And then we have a bonus episode of the show that will hit your feeds. You can watch it Saturday. It is our live show here in Phoenix. 800 Foot Clan members strong attending that live event, our bold prediction show. Tons of special stuff happening out there. And, I mean, it's going to be quite enjoyable.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be quite enjoyable.
Listen, you know what popped into my head, Mike, was we have said before at one of the live shows, Andrew Luck retired.
Yes.
And I want to give you context for that moment. So we had the show prepared. Andrew Luck retires literally while we're in the green room about to go out.
We thought it was a bit, just that we were like, oh, man.
Are we getting got?
Someone got so bad.
Do you want to know what that would be equivalent to today? That would be Joe Burrow retiring at our live show. That is the age equivalent to Andrew Luck.
Are you calling your shot?
No.
Okay.
The Reaper does not come for Joe Burrow. But that was the
He's
equivalent.
Not the fantasy retirer.
No, not currently.
You also killed the Queen, but
yeah. I mean,
you
really did.
Well, I mean, when you comp anybody to somebody in their late, probably what was she, 80, 90 years old?
Yeah.
I mean, your odds are there that something might happen
sure
in the near term. But no, we're so excited. It's going to be so much fun. So much going on. Like I said, a mock draft show today. We have some news to catch you up on. I don't think we have any catastrophic injury news to share with you today, which is nice. In fact, we have some of the opposite. Some players getting off the pup.
All right.
We are less than 2 weeks until kickoff. Wow, yeah, 2 weeks from yesterday. That's wild.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
So this weekend and next weekend, Labor Day weekend, are the two biggest draft days of the year. And if you're not prepped up and you're not ready, the Ultimate Draft Kit's available now at ultimatedraftkit.com. Let's get it going.
Leader of the Pack, presented by PetSmart.
Well, this has been a fun debate each and every week, guys. We're talking through unsettled situations, committees at the wide receiver, running back position, and where we think the fantasy value is going to end up. I mean, we did the Dolphins, I believe, last week, right? We talked through that mess of a wide receiver room. And a little update.
That one might be less messy
than this one today?
No, I'm saying with
Chris Bell
with
returning?
Chris Bell, who is actually like.
You don't think that makes it more messy?
I think it makes it less messy in terms of like he's good, right?
Yes, Chris Bell was.
But that's been the question all
he's
along.
Good?
Well, no, it's like
I think he's a first round talent with an injury recovery that pushed him down in the draft.
We think that these other guys, like you're calling your shot on who's capable, but it's like Chris Bell is a player who should have gone in the first round.
Pause. That is a fabulous future segment. He's good, right? I want that segment on this show.
Yeah, mark it down.
That would be amazing. But go on.
Yeah, the issue is, yes, he is probably the most talented of their wide receiver core coming out of college. However, week one for a rookie off an ACL who hasn't participated, you can't possibly expect him to be even decent for fantasy, which means all he does is muddy the water.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, our big takeaway, I think, at the end of last week's segment was, there is no value here. But
All
there
right.
is value here.
Yeah, today we are talking about the Steelers running backs. You know, it's a strange thing when Kenny Gainwell departing was the departure of your best receiver.
Well, you're at
Leading
least your
receiver,
leader
at
in
least.
receptions, anyways.
And honestly, he played great. He was fabulous for this team. Jaylen Warren is still there. He is the first player off the board in fantasy right now for the Steelers in the 6th round. I don't know if it is warranted, but he feels like sort of a fart of a pick to me when I get to that point in the draft. And then you get Rico Dowdle, who has at times been maybe Mike's favorite player in the world, proved last year, because it was the year of Mike, that after being...
Sir, he proved multiple years ago.
Do you think he proved what he did last year in Dallas? I don't. I don't think he
When he
had
put up 1,000 yards in
but,
half a year? I think that's proof.
I don't think his run in Dallas was ever as impressive or close to as impressive as his run last year in Carolina in terms of explosive games. I mean, there was a stretch of weeks last year where Rico Dowdle was the primary discussion point for
we had
the explosive.
We had the
insane
206 rushing yards followed up by
he can't
183.
even take a Rico compliment because he needs it to be bigger Rico compliment.
Well, that's
you realize
his Rico tattoos get offended.
Yeah. So Rico Dowdle is now on the Pittsburgh Steelers, sharing the backfield with Jaylen Warren. We know one thing about this backfield. We know Caleb Johnson won't be taking away any carries from Jaylen Warren or Rico Dowdle. But Dowdle's going around later than Jaylen Warren. I have Dowdle ranked higher. What is the takeaway for you? Like this team, Aaron Rodgers, Metcalf, Pittman, new head coach, new identity. We're so used to the Tomlin identity in the backfield. It seems wide open.
It is, and that where it's more difficult of, when Rico is on the Panthers with Chuba, I felt like Rico's the better player to me. So it was it took a while for Rico to take over the job, but it felt like this is something that could and should happen. Jaylen Warren is an excellent player. Like he's far better on the ground than I think that most people realize or give him credit for, and he's a multifaceted running back. Andy's face just did something.
I have just discovered the wildest Rico Dowdle information. Over here.
Please. Well, let's have it.
So he played in Dallas in 2024, and he played in Carolina last year.
Correct.
In neither season was he just declared the starter and played from the beginning, right?
Yep, correct. It took about half of the year.
Listen to this. His opportunities in Dallas, 284. His opportunities in Carolina, 286. Okay?
All right.
His rushing attempts, 235, 236.
Okay.
His yardage, 1079, 1076. His receptions, 39, 39.
So would that make the Dallas year?
Yeah, it would be
impressive? Because it's the same thing.
6 touchdowns last year for Carolina, 2 for Dallas. But I would say yes to it. I will stand partially corrected there. I think he was a dominator for a small stretch last year. But man, talk about just doing what you do.
Yeah, it's funny because he's shown in stretches that he is a very talented back. Hard to tackle, fully capable in the receiving game. Rico has had his moments to shine, yet no one has ever in his entire not short career been like, you know what? Let's build around Rico. You know what? Let's just make Rico our starter. No one's even been like, he's our starter ever. It's just he starts every year as the backup, and he's like, okay, he's good enough. Let's give him the ball. And I do agree, Mike, that this is his toughest. I think Jaylen Warren is going to be his most difficult guy to usurp.
It was like washed Zeke.
Yeah.
Come on. And then Chuba, who
was injured when
Chuba's
he finally.
Fine, but Rico was better.
And so
year 5 for Warren, never had a 1,000-yard season.
Never had a 1,000-yard season, but also never really been the full starter.
Not for a full year.
To me, I am on the Jaylen Warren side. And the reason, first of all, he is the wide receiver running back 1 on their depth chart right now. In both preseason games, he got the first snap and did not play much, which you kind of like to see those two things in conjunction. He also has played with Aaron Rodgers now for 2 seasons. And when I look at the opportunities here, I think that the way that I project this is I think Jaylen Warren will be the more prominent passing game, not third down back, but the passing game back than Rico Dowdle will I think that
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers will look for him the way that he looked for Kenny Gainwell. There's a reason why Kenny Gainwell led the team in receptions. It's because Aaron Rodgers is borderline dead and just checks everything down. The goal line opportunities, I would imagine, go more to Rico. I just don't see this offense as one that's going to be like
It is
scoring a ton.
It is a little funny, though, the idea that like Aaron Rodgers was there with Jaylen Warren and not Jaylen Warren was that receiving factor.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jaylen Warren does one thing for sure. He tends to get banged up, and he tends to give a backup an opportunity to have a few starts. Can Rico take advantage of that?
Yeah, and last year, Jaylen Warren, 14 carries inside the 5. Wait, total? And only 4 5-zone touchdowns. And Rico is just – it's hard because you want the running back to get the receptions and the goal line work. I don't think that that's how it will shake out. But what you do have is Mike McCarthy was in Dallas when Rico had the breakout over the second half. Mike McCarthy is in Pittsburgh, brought in a familiar face, so he should be ready to go. I think it's worth getting some exposure to this backfield. I'm not overloading this where every league I'm in, I'm like, I gotta get one of these Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think that there's a decent chance that one of them actually pops.
Whose upside is higher?
Rico
because of the touchdowns. But if it goes with any history of Rico, just draft Jaylen Warren, and then around week, 7 or 8, pick up Rico Dowdle.
I'm actively targeting Dowdle. He's the winner.
Oh.
He's the winner in this competition for me on this show for leader of the pack. But I went through my UDK for the league of record, and I went and I marked my targets for these rounds where I have picks, and Rico's marked for me. I actually just think that there's a lot of opportunity for him to become the identity of this team, and that puts me kind of farther in that camp. Leader of the pack for you, Jason. You said Jaylen Warren?
Jaylen Warren would be the guy I would draft. I think he starts as the starter and has more passing work and stays healthy.
And Mike, which side are you on?
Well, what do you think of this quote here?
I know the quote's from crazy.
I apologize if I mispronounced the name, but Mark Kaberle, Steelers beat writer. So the end of the quote is, Dowdle's quickness, speed, vision, and power make him much more than a platoon back. Even though Warren is very good, Dowdle will be the unquestioned RB1 when the season starts.
I mean, that would be really surprising if week one, to me, if week one comes and he is the unquestioned starter, that would be really surprising given that their official depth chart right now lists Warren ahead, and both preseason games they had Warren be ahead. So the unquestioned part about that,
it's a trick, Jason.
It
You
could be.
fell
Look,
right for it.
It could be.
You think I'm not picking Rico Dowdle?
No, I
Come
know.
on.
I know who you're picking.
All right, that was Leader of the Pack presented by PetSmart. Visit your local PetSmart store or go to PetSmart.com today. PetSmart, anything for pets.
News and notes from around the league.
Hey.
We actually got breaking news during this last segment. If we call it that, it wasn't the kind that you break in for, but the Packers are signing former Pro Bowl tight end Johnny Smith to a 1-year deal. He is going to join the Packers this year, be another weapon for Jordan Love. Tucker Kraft, I think yesterday, said something like, I'm done with the snap count or the snap restrictions or whatever that was.
But Musgrave has been hurt, right? I haven't seen anything about him. Yeah, 4 days ago, Luke Musgrave dealing with significant abdomen injury.
So a depth chart move.
This is more of a Musgrave than a Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, I am not as in on Tucker Kraft as you guys for the draft cost right now for the beginning of the year. I don't think this has any effect on Tucker Kraft. I wouldn't move him down at all from them signing Johnny Smith.
Could I get applause here? Alec Pierce is coming off the PUP today. The people.
The people love it.
The people are thrilled. It is kind of
dozens of them.
It's so perfect for it to happen the day after my guys. It's too late for me.
The literal day after. You've been waiting for him to come off the pup so you could have him be a my guy.
A lot has changed.
They saved you from that.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't have done it if he had just come off the pup yesterday, I promise.
What are you doing with drafting him? How slow a start do you think he's going to get off to? He hasn't been running, and
there's just a lot of factors in this equation right now. Like the Keenan Allen addition combined with the delayed return from injury is too much for me to be like. Maybe it's great. Maybe it's great for fantasy because Alec Pierce will be completely ignored in your draft. This is a $100 million receiver who was super productive last year, and I think will be the go-to target in this offense. who has led the league in yards per reception for 2 years in a row, is a touchdown monster, and maybe he's just free now. Maybe he's just not even thought about. Keenan Allen has taken the narrative, and the injuries have taken the narrative. Maybe that means that Alec Pierce can be a steal for you in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round. I mean, I don't even know. I think his variability on where he goes in drafts will be massive.
Yeah.
Just completely ignored, or somebody's going to try to grab him. And
I think I'm going to pass on Alec Pierce in the draft and hope he hits waivers. He won't go undrafted, and nor should he. But the opening schedule for the Colts, they play the Ravens, Chiefs, and Texans for the first 3 weeks. And those are going to be the weeks where he's working back into shape against really tough defenses.
But if you're drafting him in the 8th
I don't
round,
want to
then he's not starting
My
for you.
point is I don't want to hang on to a player who's not doing well the first 3 weeks, hoping that somewhere later down the line I get – like that's a month into the season. I don't want to have – I'm not willing to draft Alec Pierce for and have him
last year,
someone I'm not going to play for a month.
Last year against Houston, 7 for 132 and 2.
Yeah,
and they're
I'm
on the road.
I'm more on Andy's side. I'd be willing to draft and hold.
Mike Evans plans to play week 1.
Good luck.
I mean, he's had plans.
Your legs don't.
I plan to miss week
Is
1.
that? I mean, you said your legs don't, but it's his groin.
Yeah.
Does
Well, it's
that
not
count?
just his groin. It's his quad, his groin, his hamstring.
Okay.
It's his meat.
I was
I'm
gonna-
sorry, but we've got rules here, and it's his meat. His meat is bad. I'm sorry.
Bad meat.
Well, I didn't.
Hey, you don't make the
meat
rules.
is gone.
I don't make the rules. If
Meat
T.
Higgins-
Higgins' meat is bad, Mike Evans' meat
Is
is.
it like on a?
It's like soured.
Is like the manager's deal?
Yeah.
You show up and it's got the big yellow sticker on it.
100% a manager
You're like,
special.
holy crap! Look at the deal on this meat.
Well, it expires tomorrow, but look what round you can get him in.
I was in a draft yesterday, that FFT Open, and there's, they have their default ADP on CBS, and I'm playing on there. I mean, Mike Evans just sat there and sat there and sat there and sat there, and nobody wanted to be the person to draft Mike Evans. And yet the upside is tremendous.
Mike Evans,
when he is playing, when the meat is healthy.
I am so confident. Well, this is a filet mignon on manager special. So they're like the expiration date is coming, but if you cook this thing up in the right time,
this ain't discount baloney.
I really exactly right, Andy.
Yeah.
Exactly
yeah,
right.
we nailed this.
I genuinely believe
baloney?
Mike Evans will dominate in for fantasy when he is
4 games, 4 fantasy.
Yeah, when he is playing. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a DFS play. But I would say that I came in early in the offseason thinking Mike Evans was going to be my guy. The only worry was
manager special
age and injury history, and this offseason has proved
the substation,
the electrical substation
got
in
me
San
again.
Francisco has him.
Just a little too loud for me not to be scared.
I don't know where to draft him. I still want him on my teams, but I think he plays half of a season.
I mean, this is
and it's going to be sporadic.
There's the manager
there we
special.
go. Is that quality?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Yeah.
Not the most complimentary
Gross.
graphic. Zay Flowers still being held out of practice for, quote, precautionary reasons and should be ready for week 1.
Yeah, he's fine. Don't worry about
I
it.
always
As
hate
week 1
these- I always
inches
hate
closer,
these-
the be ready for week 1, but not seeing you ready gets more nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
He'll be okay. Maybe.
This time of year,
No, he's fine.
everyone is just, though it's so commonly said he should be ready for week 1 that you can't take it serious anymore. As when we're a week and a half from week 1, it's like, is he healthy now or not?
When does it change? He'll be ready for next week.
It's got to be practice. He's got to be, if he's ready for week 1, that
gotta
means
be
he's
in
full
practice for week
participation
1.
in the practice for week 1.
Too early to tell if James Conner will play in week 1. Do we care? Probably not.
No.
Algier could be a full-time starter in week 1. I saw a video of Jeremiah Love doing some work, trying to get back from the injury. Let's hope he can.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, week 1, you could end up with Tyler Algier, Mike Washington, and Marshawn Lloyd as must starts. It's possible that all three are like.
That is nasty. And let's
Although I don't
be
know that
clear,
Mike Washington would
let's
be a
be
must
clear, not all of them will finish week 1 healthy, probably. The Browns are releasing Cedric Tillman.
This one's weird.
Cedric Tillman
That's
went
not
from
weird.
sort of relevant
It's
for a
not?
minute.
They've got a very deep core now with when.
I feel like there was a time though that you really you like Cedric
That's
Tillman.
that's why I think it's weird. I think Cedric Tillman belongs on an NFL team, and he can help an NFL team. And he had to have been very cheap for
Well,
their
he got
roster.
really severely injured.
Yeah.
Didn't he have, was it the concussions or a couple of things going on for Tillman? I can't remember.
I think he had different.
There was something where he got a concussion and they kept holding him out over and over.
That was the
end
of that was the end of 2024,
Okay.
and then last year he had a 4-game stretch that he missed. I mean, he didn't do anything of note last year. This isn't like, hey, Cedric Tillman's a really special player, but it's why are you cutting
with Isaiah
Bond?
With Isaiah Bond, Jerry Jeudy, Fannin, and the two, first and second round rookies, and you're just not going to keep them on the roster.
It could be a move of the like, hey, you're not going to play. We'll let you go find a job.
All right, we'll take a break and we'll jump into our mock draft ahead of a big draft weekend.
The Fantasy Footballers Mock Draft.
Okay, we're back into it, trying to prep up for the weekend. 12-team half PPR mock, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 4 bench. And
I didn't listen to you.
Well, you should have.
It's just the normal one, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it. I'm good.
It's the normal. Well, what were you doing, perchance?
I was
he's
just
talking
Were
to
you
the
drinking?
audience.
You were taking a sip of water,
Yeah,
and that
this is water.
clogs your ears up.
He can't do 2 things at the same time, man.
I really can't.
I mean, that's not a lie. He does what he's doing. He does well, but if he needs to
I
do
have
multiple
no
things,
distractions.
Yeah, he's locked in.
like we have. Let's just put it this way: we have like very active Slack conversations mid-show. Like the,
Yes, this is
the
a perfect
producers,
example, yes.
Mike and
Yes.
I, everybody on the team.
I most of the time read them after the show.
Like
Yeah,
very
Jason
necessary
cannot
communication.
do that. But yes, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 4 bench. Jason and Mike is in the 3rd spot, random selection. Jason and I get to go back to back in a spot of the draft I don't love, 10 and 11.
That should suck.
Well, we'll see. And then we have our writing staff, production staff, and team grabbing the other spots in the draft. It starts with Jahmyr Gibbs. As the offseason has progressed, it started with who's going to be the number 1, and it's progressed to if you have the 101, the decision is sort of made at this point. Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, I can't get enough of the way Dan Campbell talks about Jahmyr Gibbs. And it is proportionally insulting to Isaiah Pacheco because it is just like, we're going to push this guy. You seen these clips from Dan Campbell?
Yeah.
We're going to push this guy. We think he can be the best ever. He hasn't even scratched the surface because it seemed like the surface had been scratched by Jahmyr Gibbs at some point in time.
a pretty deep scratch.
A deep scratch.
That's like a cut.
And,
Like
and they're just
that's
like,
a key.
we're going to stretch him. We're going to make him better. Yeah, he literally says, yeah, we got Pacheco. But anyways, it's the plan.
They did also.
And there's no Pua.
Right. You
Well,
don't have
has-
to deal with the Pua quarterback situation.
That would be Penix and Tua.
Not huge news, but Kareem Hunt did visit the Detroit Lions. Isaiah Pacheco's like, I'm free of you, Kareem, stealing my touchdowns. No. So we'll see how that goes.
That's all. Kareem Hunt's manager is like,
Just
the only place we can get you to sign, we just got to find out where Pacheco is,
follow
and they
Isaiah.
will prefer you.
I know where we got a great opportunity.
Oh, that's not even.
That was Pacheco going off the cliff.
Oh, Jason.
That's what the end of that sound effect was.
Jason. Jahmyr Gibbs goes number 1. Kyle had the number 1 pick. Then Bijan goes 2. Mike is on the clock.
Oh, wait, because Pacheco is, in fact, dealing with injury.
Well, he had been. Yeah, he had been dealing for the last month.
Okay.
So I think this is looking at the depth. But, it's a new injury.
Yeah.
So he had an injury, and now he's dealing with a back
knee
injury.
This is like a minute ago.
Oh, yeah. Isaiah Pacheco now dealing with back injury.
Don't worry, the
Prior
knee
injury no longer a concern.
Sign Trey Benson, you cowards.
Who's also dealing with a knee injury.
Shut up, Jason.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan off the board. Mike, you're on the clock. Where are you going?
I'm perfectly fine. If you want to take Christian McCaffrey right there, if you want to, ride that situation.
And you had your time with CMC, and you're doing what fantasy managers need to do, which is look at every year fresh.
Yeah.
And you have not pounded the table for him in any draft. I don't think you've ever been against him.
No, I
but
still
you've not. It's not been the Mike of last year.
Yeah, I still love him as the running back 3. But it's hard to argue with how much work he got last year. Can it really continue? I mean, if he's healthy, he's going to be awesome. But I'm going with Jamar Chase here. I like some of these running backs in the second round. We'll see how the draft falls, but what I believe about the Bengals this year, I'm going to go with Jamar.
After Chase goes CMC, Puka, Jonathan Taylor, and James Cook, Hampton at 108, and JSN at 109. My hope at 110 was, in fact, Amon-Ra St. Brown somehow being there. He is there, and I'm going to take him.
Did you
ahead
hope he would
Jason.
be there at 11, Jason?
I didn't think he would be there at 11, but I didn't think he'd be there necessarily at 10. And so whenever a player ggets one spot before you,
Sure.
I think the Hampton pick.
just don't make that one. Just make any other pick.
The Hampton pick at 108 is interesting, and I'm not criticizing it. I think you can kind of, just like Genty, you can basically plant your flag and say, the Keaton Mitchell being banged up, like Hampton could start the year on a great team, favored to win the division, being everything. But I like the fact it kicked Amon-Ra down a pick.
This is my absolute worst start for me because every single player picked is exactly who I would have picked before me. I would have taken Hampton here if he was available. ADP says
so
he
you are
usually would have.
You're in shambles.
So I know who I'm going to take with my next pick. I don't think he's going
to.
I don't think he's going to go at the turn. And so I am sitting here really considering between Chase Brown and Kenneth Walker. It's a little bit high. It's a little bit high for both of those guys. Alternatively, I could go CeeDee Lamb. But
That's what I thought you would do.
I figured you did. But I'm going to go between Chase Brown and Kenneth Walker.
My goodness.
That's tough. You know what?
Just feels like
Mike,
you're. Yeah,
for you,
both
Mike,
of them are for Mike.
Well, but one is more. I'm going to take Kenbone Walker here in the first.
Kenbone Walker.
Oh my gosh!
You still
now
have
you've
that?
got that.
Well, Ken Walker, I took him in the first yesterday, and I was pretty excited about it. CeeDee Lamb and Devon.
This is going to be the worst start. Kenbone Walker, Chase Brown fall into your lap if you want him.
I'm not taking Chase Brown here.
Let me catch people up that are not watching the screen.
Sorry.
Ken Walker at 111, CeeDee Lamb at 112, Devon Achane goes at 201. And so Jason does have the choice of going Chase Brown. He's got options all across the board. And there's one name I'm interested to see if he passes on or he falls to me.
There is the guy that is the reason I took Ken Walker in the first round, and my choice of him or Brown is because I was very confident the next wide receiver would get to me. I'm all entirely in on this guy. I think he could be the wide receiver 1 this year, but I do think he will be a top 6 wide receiver. I would take him over, like when I look at Lamb or this guy, I'm like, I don't know anymore. I'm taking A.J. Brown.
Wow.
I really think that last year's MVP runner-up and that offense and A.J. Brown is either he's lost it or he should dominate.
Well, I'm thrilled because I feel like everything you use to describe A.J. Brown is how I would describe a guy who's done it most of his career. It was a bump last year. I'll take Jefferson in the second. I'm taking Justin Jefferson at 203 with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I can't do it.
It's pretty tough to keep a player of that ability down. I don't think Kyler's going to do it.
You don't think he's going to keep him down?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Jefferson's going to be like I think Jefferson had a much larger role in the acquisition and the guaranteed starting position for Kyler Murray. There was some talk about, what happened this offseason. I think Jefferson has you make the wrong call here. You don't find a quarterback to supply the man who is breaking every NFL record at his age. This dude's leaving. Like, there were already rumors about Jefferson requesting a trade from this team in this offseason. And I think it's been kept pretty quiet, but I think he had a big role to play. So, it's scary. But when it's 203 and it's not 109 or 105, I'll take it. We'll see how it goes, though. It's a mock draft. That's the point. 2 wide receivers to start my draft. Chase Brown does go next. Pickens, Barkley, Henry. Bowers, first tight end off the board at 208. And Genty at 209. Mike, you are on the clock.
Let's see. So it got pretty running back heavy there. So that's a bit of a bummer that none of those guys really fell to me. The wide receiver, Drake London should work. Should work. We're into the names of it should work already.
Are you in the camp of London's not off the board, which is a little wild? Is that because we on this show have thrown the cold water on that situation as then like he may have a Jefferson-like year. Like I'm just a little bit surprised he's this far behind Jefferson, and I'm a little bit surprised that, like who would you bet to have the better year today?
Between London and Jefferson?
Yeah, like
Jefferson.
Okay.
I'll go that side.
Okay.
But both of them I think have like you can see how it goes wrong, not injury related, just the play of the team. You can see how it goes wrong. I think Minnesota corrects. I'm getting more and more concerned of Atlanta with Pua over there.
Jack Strand. 2 apologies for yesterday's show. One, I did say the third string quarterback, and I didn't say Jack Strand's name.
Yeah.
And 2, humongous apology to my fellow Seinfeld fans.
I'm glad you brought it up because
this is
you need to address this.
The Van Buren
elephant.
boys. Their secret signal was
the 8 fingers.
Was 8 fingers, which is the 8th president of the United States. That was so missed.
Kyle said he was very
Sometimes you get a
disappointed.
little worked up when you're talking presidents on the show.
Yeah.
And you just forget what you know. And,
there's Marty.
Ebenezer Van Buren. Yeah. It was a little Ebenezer heavy yesterday. Mike, you're on the clock. Who are you taking?
So I don't know how the turn is going to go, and I don't know if the ankle is ready for week 1, but I'm taking Jeremiah Love here.
Wow.
Okay. That surprised me.
He's at the top of my board.
Man. All right. I was kind of hoping he might get passed on through to that third round. Drake London, Nico Collins, Chris Olave, Kyron Williams. Mike, you get a pick again.
I certainly do. So I got Jamar, I got Love, and this is where we're gonna inject a little bit of risk already in the third round, and we're just gonna take Malik Neighbors. If you're following the news,
why didn't we talk about that?
Because I don't know if it's a thing or not.
Yeah, we don't. We haven't heard any follow up. He left with a trainer with 20 minutes left to go in practice, but it wasn't like he was injured and left with a trainer. He just left practice 20 minutes early, walking next to a trainer.
Literally, his head coach came out and said it's due to injury. That was the actual head. I just think it's if a guy has had 2 surgeries and missed a bunch of offseason, and we have a bunch of questions around him, and then he leaves with a trainer. To me, that's
imagine
news.
There should be more information this morning.
Yeah, maybe he's fine. It's I don't want to hear that at all about a player with an injury.
Agreed. It is high risk, high reward here.
McBride goes 304. Again, Bowers was 208. Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice, Tet McMillan, Lad McConkey. What do you think of that order for that 5-pack of wideouts? Which, by the way, quite the delight for me, needing a running back to see. This round has been 7 wide receivers, a tight end. I thought I wasn't going to have a shot at a good running back.
So, Andy, it said that the tweet was Malik walked off with the trainer with 20 minutes left in practice after having a full workload. Harbaugh said he didn't get an update after practice that the early departure was injury-related. Didn't get an update after practice. It's worded very strange.
I thought they said that it was injury-related, but he doesn't have an update on it.
Yeah.
So maybe I misread it.
Could be a different tweet.
It's possible, yes, somebody else might have said something different.
Here's what you need to know, Foot Clan.
I don't like it.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Hopefully he's totally fine. Well,
I know who Andy's taking here.
You do?
Yeah, for sure.
Here's a direct Harbaugh quote. "It wasn't part of the plan. I'll find out what's going on. I'm sure it's something with the trainers. There's no injury. We'll talk afterwards."
Okay. I stand corrected.
All right.
Yeah, that's good. That makes me much happier.
Nice pick, Mike.
We did it.
I think.
Honestly, every word he said of that sentence, I went, huh?
Yeah, it was a very roller coaster.
So this is awesome for fantasy players right now because this is rubber meets the road. I have 2 wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Justin Jefferson. The obvious pick with no variables in play is Josh Jacobs to be your RB1. He's made to be the RB1. I'm not going to take him here. I cannot have the risk of my RB1 having this suspension thing holding over him. And I have a player that I love. And I mean, he was in my guy consideration too for a period of time, or fantasy MVP consideration. I am taking Breece Hall at the 310.
Lightning.
I think Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson equal Jets offense. It's, they paid him this offseason. I have tremendous confidence in it, and I'm willing to let Jacobs
Coach
go.
Called them both bell cows.
I know that, Jason will probably take Jacobs.
Yeah, I did. I knew you were going to take Breece Hall. And honestly, I think if I was on the clock and had to choose between Breece Hall and Josh Jacobs right now, I would do the same thing.
Well, and in your position, you had Ken Walker. So you're a little bit more like if you were surprised by suspension, you're not completely devoid of running backs at that point. So that was part of my consideration. But if I had already taken a running back, maybe I go the other way.
Yeah. So now that I've got Jacobs and Walker and A.J. Brown, I'm looking for another wide receiver.
Javonte Williams and Josh Allen went next.
Yes, between my two picks. It's funny here. There's a lot of wide receivers I like. Jalen Warren, Emeka Egbuka. One guy that I really am considering here would be Jameson Williams. This is much further. I'm near the turn, so there's no. I just have to take who I think is the best wide receiver, and I would say that of those guys, I would have taken Jameson Williams if T. Higgins wasn't on the board, but T is a tier above for me.
Is this because of the meat comments earlier? Is that in the back of your mind?
Unrelated. The meat comments are unrelated, but
you're going meet Higgins?
I'm going meet Higgins. Knowing that you're not retiring Joe Burrow is a pretty big deal to me.
Yeah, that's not the plan, at least.
We'll find out tomorrow night, live at the Van Buren.
All right, considerations for me here. I'm right back on the clock. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jefferson, Breece Hall. The trouble I have here is I am a big believer in Travis Etienne Jr. in New Orleans. That's at the top of my running back list. But at wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka is sitting there. Zay Flowers is sitting there. Both of those guys I see in an elite tier. So it's kind of between those two spots. I will be really thin at running back, and the running backs are a bit of trouble down the way. So long wait for me. I'm going back and forth here. Bucky Irving, we've heard pretty good stuff. Cam Scatterbu's on the board. And that kind of ends my list of, I'm not taking Travion, even though he was a my guy yesterday, right?
Yeah. No, I know he was a my guy.
I can't believe you did it
You
twice.
should take him.
You did it twice. I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Zay Flowers here at 403.
My man.
I'm going to take Zay Flowers.
I mean, I wish you wouldn't, but
I don't know if you can get much better than Amon-Ra, Jefferson, Flowers.
That's
stack.
That's a lot of targets.
So I'll go there.
Healthy.
Colson Loveland at 404. There he goes.
Oh, Mr. Loveland.
DeAndre Swift stolen from the grip of Mike Wright.
I figured Julia would do that.
Cam Scatterbu, Jalen Waddle off the board. Waddle, very excited for him. And then there goes Travis Etienne Jr. and Emeka Egbuka. So Mike has Chase, Love, and Neighbors. I'm going to give him a second. We'll take a break, and we'll come back and finish this mock draft. All right, Foot Clan, whether you are on the go or at home, T-Mobile, well, they're built to keep you connected wherever you're scouting your fantasy team. And that on-the-go part, that is important. With America's best network, you'll be connected to the latest news and player projections, so when you're on the clock, you can draft a winning team. I can think of so many situations where that element of being connected while you're on the go is fundamental to fantasy football success. I'm in the midst of multiple leagues right now where I am responding to trade offers. We are massaging the trade offer. We want to make sure that I'm the one that gets the player, not another player manager in our league. So trade offers when you're on the go, all the news that's breaking so you don't make a mistake. And my favorite thing, maybe I'll mention it. Look, you're sitting and you have a quiet moment somewhere out and about. You want to jump in the UDK. We got the player profiles. You can watch all of those in there with T-Mobile. You can jump in on the player projections and our stat projections and all the 130,000 words of content. Again, T-Mobile making that easy to do. Every bit of news. Things are changing all the time. New player contracts, all that good stuff. So from off-season to game day, every play is better with T-Mobile. What you got to do is visit T-Mobile.com/network. Fastest is based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data of national speed score results for the second half of 2025. The best mobile network in the U.S. is based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data second half of 2025. I'm really happy to hear that Neighbors update compared to the tweet.
I liked about half of it.
Yeah, I mean, just what part did you liked the part where it wasn't injury related?
Well, it was.
Why did he leave with the trainers though, man?
Yeah, that's part of the part you didn't like.
Guys, they've been hanging out a lot.
Is this a Froyo thing?
Yeah, they're just broing down.
Oh, they probably were going to miss the discount if they didn't leave about 20 minutes early. All right,
you got to get those punch cards filled.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get out
to
the Froyo.
$10 off at Frozen Zone, whatever.
Neighbors should do everything he can to walk off practice as far away from trainers as possible, so we're not confused. Mike, you're on the clock. Chase, Neighbors, Love. It's a little interesting because like Love and Neighbors are both kind of risky biscuits to start the year.
They are. I think that Love by the time it shows. I don't know. Because we're not getting full reporting out there. DeAndre Swift would have been a delightful pick right here had he fallen to me in the 4th round. But it does give me an opportunity, a player who I've been hot and bothered for most of the offseason, and just the drafts have not worked out for me. But I still believe. I am taking Bashal Tutin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that he will be the main guy, and I think it will. The whole LaQuint Allen is playing 3rd down, and we're rotating Crod. I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be Bashal Tutin as the majority of the backfield.
All right, after Tutin goes Bucky Irving finally at 4'11". That was a tough choice, I'm sure. Tutin and Irving, different committees, situations there. Tyler Warren, Jadarian Price. Jadarian Price at 5'01".
That's a good deal. Fine. And you knew Kyle was going to take Tyler Warren. With his hatred of Colson Loveland, he would, of course, take Warren.
By the way, that's Price over Monty Judkins. It's Price over...
I would, too.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think it's the exact right spot for him.
DJ Moore at 502. Did you guys see the comments from DJ Moore yesterday?
I did not.
It was kind of a...
What's he got to say these days?
He was so complimentary of Josh Allen that it was an insult to Caleb Williams.
Oh yeah,
it was.
You think DJ Moore's not a little bit bitter about last year?
It was kind of interesting because it was about like the off the field relationship and how it helps the on field relationship. It seemed like it was saying some stuff. You know what I mean? Like obviously he's going to be happy and proud of his new quarterback.
Josh Allen isn't out there doing the same spreads that
Leave
Caleb
him.
was.
He's modeling, Jason.
That's what I'm
saying.
Yeah, no, a magazine spread is what I meant. Look.
We shouldn't have access to that so fast.
Caleb is, he's out there.
I forgot Jason was in the middle of this picture
Caleb
yesterday.
Williams is a much better looking dude than Josh Allen.
No, he's not. Josh Allen's a super handsome guy.
Haley Steinfeld?
Oh, no, I'm not counting that. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Caleb Williams is much.
I'm not saying
more
Caleb
magazine ready than Josh Allen.
I am not saying Caleb Williams is unattractive, but it sounds like you're saying Josh Allen is unattractive, which is nonsense.
Yeah, it sounds like you took this in a direction I didn't expect it to go.
Yeah. I'm just trying to defend.
You're just driving right into the L.
DJ Moore off the board. Mike back on the clock.
I'm at the 503.
2 wides, 2 running backs so far.
And this one is brutal because I know what my opportunity cost. There's 2 players that I am locked into, and I know I won't get one of them, and that makes me really sad. I'll just walk through it. It's like my guy, Christian Watson, we are in the range where he will not make it back to the 6'10". So I love him. As a wide receiver 3, I think that is incredible. But Joe Burrow, to go with my Jamar Chase here and strike the fear of God into everyone who is matched up against me in a week.
I mean,
that's hard to pass on as well.
I think you might get him next round, though.
Joe Burrow?
I mean, you have only one quarterback off the board. You're talking Lamar, Daniels. I'm just throwing it out there.
Sure.
And again, every person in this draft is listening to our internal thoughts.
They
were ruining it at this point.
It was already.
I just wondered if you would get. I feel like you would get him in a normal draft. Maybe not now that we've said it out loud, because asking our staff not to troll us. Impossible.
I'm just going to take
There is no
Christian
chance
Watson.
he would have gotten Joe Burrow. I wrote down forever ago. 5.3 Joe Burrow, because I knew you were the only guy taking him from me. I mean, now anybody could take him from me because I got T. Higgins.
Yeah,
I was like,
just because you have T. Higgins doesn't mean you should take Joe Burrow at 5'11".
No, I wouldn't. I'd take him at 6'2".
Really?
Yeah. But I knew you were gonna. I'm so happy you.
So
didn't
wait,
take.
hold on. I feel like
I
this
was
is
really
this is
torn
breaking
between
news
those 2.
here. Where like you're going to take Burrow, who I know isn't. I mean, you have probably several quarterbacks ahead of.
He's my quarterback 3 in 6 point.
Okay.
Oh, he's going to be here for you, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, he usually would be there. The only question is, will the Jamar Chase person pull that stack off or not?
Yep.
And then, obviously, the person between me...
Never seen a Burrow fight. The dude's about to retire. That's a weird...
I thought you said he wasn't.
Yeah, you're going back and forth on this.
You think I have any control over this stuff?
Yes, I do, actually.
Sometimes.
You think I tried to kill the queen?
I know that you
I don't know that you didn't try.
Rest in peace, Smash Mouth.
Man.
Judd, okay, so huge wide receiver run.
Yeah, that
Moore,
makes me
Watson,
feel...
Williams, McLaurin, Evans, Burden, Tate. Judkins goes off the board. I was kind of hoping for Judkins to be my RB2 there. I end up with David Opportunity. We've got a fantasy time machine, so we're going to talk about David Montgomery tomorrow. Jason, you're on the clock. Maybe you can take Burrow at 5'11 and 6'02.
Maybe. So obviously the person between me on the turn has Josh Allen. I know I would never take Joe Burrow here, but I do love the idea of stacking Joe Burrow with T. Higgins. However, there are a lot of players here that might just be better for my team. Travion Henderson, Devontae Adams, and Rome Odunze are three players I absolutely love in this spot. So I'm balanced at wide receiver and running back. I'm going to take either Devontae Adams or Rome Odunze. I have been rising higher and higher on Devontae Adams lately. Some of the quotes coming out from McVay about watching the film and seeing that he had a lot more to give is part of the reason they backed out of the A.J. Brown trade. But I'm also a believer in Rome. I'm going to take Devontae Adams. Old man, I'm going to pull the trigger, and I think that he will still be good this year. Betting against age.
The nicest thing about Adams is that the worst version of Adams can still score double-digit touchdowns in this offense. And the best version of Adams is much better than his ADP. He's going to be an injury risk. He's one of the two oldest. He's less of an injury risk today than Mike Evans is as the other oldest. Odunze does go next. Parker Washington at 6:01. Jason, you're back on the clock.
And now I'm sitting here. This is where I said at the 6'2", I was going to take Joe Burrow, which I like. The value is fine. I stack him with T. Higgins, a great quarterback. There are a lot of late-round quarterbacks I like. Considering the fact that I already have two running backs, I know I'm
Trevo.
That's who I'm actually going to take. I'm going to
Trevo is an RB3.
Yes,
is
in the 6th round is where he should be going.
It matches his depth chart in New England.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm just
it's where he should be going in the 6th round. Most of this offseason he's been a 4th rounder.
Now you can take their RB1 right there though.
Yes, I could have taken Ramondre Stevenson, but as my RB3, I am going for the highest upside at the pick. So we'll see if Burrow makes it back to you.
I'll take Ramondre right after Trevo there as another running back for my team. There was another report yesterday about how Ramondre is performing at camp and how good he looks. So I'm all in on him. I think he could be very, very good. Lamar goes at 6:04. Krosky Merritt at 6:05. Kraft. And Marvin Harrison, what a steal at 6:07, I think. I think so. Jalen Hurts goes next.
Yeah, I knew you would do it, Josh.
Yeah.
See, that's my point.
It's such a stupid pick for your team,
it
too.
It doesn't make any sense, Josh.
You took a tight end in the third.
Nobody has the courage to just do this draft properly. But Joe Burrow
Undo the pick. It's dumb. Josh, you don't even want Burrow. You don't.
Yeah, I'm taking it away. In fact, I'm drafting somebody.
Thank you.
There. So listen.
Joe Burrow's on my team, baby.
Oh, my God.
But here was...
Don't doubt the power of the commissioner.
Go back in time. The reason I thought you could get him, Mike, which I totally believed, was because even though Jason had it written down on a piece of paper, I knew when he gets on the clock, he's going to see names that when no other quarterbacks have been off the board, he's going to pass on him.
You were a good friend to me
because
today.
He got there and he could have
Mr.
taken
Holloway.
Adams and Travion. So I just saved you all around, Mike. You got Watson and Burrow, and there was no other way you were getting both those dudes.
No, there was not.
Josh selected Drake May, not Burrow.
Yes, because even Drake May's a dumb pick for you there, man. Why are you taking a
Joe Burrow was actually a good pick for him, I think.
No.
I know what you're saying because he already had a onesie, but since he has two running backs, two wide receivers, I wouldn't have blamed him in a real draft.
Yeah, but why was he taking him?
It was probably for trolling.
Brian Thomas Jr., Godwin, Dowdle, and Stribling. Dejon in the 7th.
You're telling me the guy whose team name in the League of Record is Grumpy Old Trolls was trolling?
Yeah. Nice.
It's ridiculous.
I think the math
It got so
out.
close to like nobody trolling there.
Yeah.
Dejon Stribling at 7:02 goes behind Godwin, which I think is interesting. Mike, you're back on the clock here at 7:03.
And you know what I must do? The running back position is it's getting
just kidding.
The running back position
One leg.
We're at the currently to At the top of the ADP is Warren, Chuba, and Tony Pollard. I could not be more. I don't want them on the team. I don't want them.
I
on
don't
my
think you would
fantasy
take him
team.
with your last round pick.
That's where Warren is for me. Warren's in that group of those two dudes.
Oh, you
Jalen
just
Warren?
don't want him?
I just don't want him on my team. I just don't have interest.
So, J.K. Dobbins is there for me at 703. My faith in J.K. Dobbins has been very, very strong all off season because R.J. Harvey. I will be honest, the Jonah Coleman love that Sean Payton is bestowing upon him has me more nervous about a possible a larger timeshare than I want.
All right, we are cooking here in the 7th round. Dobbins, Sutton, Jonathan Brooks, great pick by Cash Money. Fannin off the board, and then Jaden Daniels goes as the quarterback 6. Really bad news about that offensive line lately. Losing Tunzel is a huge problem for them because the Commanders' offensive line with Tunzel was a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lose your best player on that offensive line, and I think there's big-time concern. I think we're all concerned about that offense. I'm concerned about Daniels. Daniels is almost not being drafted by me. Like, I would not have considered him at 7-10. There's guys I like more.
It's a bunch of people. A bunch of beat reporters are like,
yeah,
this
what's
is
that last quote yesterday?
One that
Nikki, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher that last name.
Javala?
This is the worst
Nailed it.
I've ever seen the Commanders' offensive line in years. Inoperable. That's heavy.
That means the offense was not doing well.
Yeah, inoperable.
Yeah,
sounds like a tumor.
No, it's not the tumor.
Alec Pearson, Jalen Warren goes off the board. I'm back on the clock.
Honestly, when an offensive line is just that bad, and every year there's a team or two that has the offensive line where there's nothing that this team can do. You're running everything. Your quarterback, your running back, your wide receiver, everything just gets nerfed. It's not that they won't have some stats and some games, but anytime they're matched up against a competent defensive line, you're like, can I play Bill this week?
And
you're like,
you might have
probably not.
The running back position may be inoperable for the Commanders.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I'm going to take Caleb Williams, my guy, at 7-10 here.
That's a good pick.
And I've got Amon-Ra, Jefferson, and Flowers, Brees Hall, Montgomery, and Stevenson. I feel pretty good. I feel like the depth is there. Jason, you're back on the clock. You've got Walker, Jacobs, Henderson with A.J. Brown, Higgins, and Adams. That's a very similar situation. You have depth, you have upside, and you're on the clock.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to probably, looking at the quarterbacks that are left, I like Jackson Dart and Dak Prescott. I'm going to take one with my next pick. Right here, I would be looking at the tight end position. If I liked Kyle Pitts the way that Andy did, I would take him. I don't, so I won't. The running backs that are on the board, they're the guys that Mike just illustrated, like Chuba and Tony Pollard, starters. You just don't want. There's really no upside, and eventually they'll probably lose their jobs. I'm going to take someone who doesn't have the job yet. I would love to leave my drafts with him everywhere that I can, and if he's my running back 4, I don't have to worry. He can be a stash. There is the world where he is a flex with benefits, but should an injury happen to Kyren Williams. Again, I've said this forever. I think Kyren is going to be an RB1 for fantasy. I'm bullish on Kyren.
Blake Corum.
But Blake Corum is not he's a great player, and should an injury happen, he is a league winner.
All right, Mason and Laporta. Jason, you're right back on the clock here with 8:02. You do have your onesies left. I have my tight end left, and Mike, you have your tight end left throughout the remainder 4 rounds. Jason has some options.
Yeah, I'm between Dak and Dart. I think Dart's.
Why does that sound so funny?
Dak and Dart.
Dak and Dart.
I don't know. I think Dart's upside is higher, but Dak is so good. He's never not been a.
You think it is?
I do think it is because he can rush for 800 yards, and if you do that at the quarterback position, your upside can be tremendously high. Again, I just took Dak.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, he was on pace for 750 or something last year.
He'll be an on-pace guy the rest of his career.
Fair.
With the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, again, I drafted Dak.
Yeah.
He's
Dak
just the pace card.
Well, Dak, he's
always a quarterback 1, and oftentimes, several times through his career has been a top 5 quarterback if he plays a season, he's fantastic. With those two wide receivers and a bad defense, I mean, it's basically Joe Burrow cheap. It's the cheaper Joe Burrow.
We were on with Mina Kimes yesterday, and she asked us that question. After we said we kind of, we're mostly positive about Hurts for the draft price. It was like Hurts versus Dak, and we were all like, well, I'll take Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Like the price on Dak with the upside of that receiving core. I went with Casey Concepcion at 803.
A little surprised.
Yeah, I have a long wait. This is part of draft strategy. I have to wait a round and a half, and there's 2 Kyle picks in there. So I know that Kyle probably would have snagged him at the end of the round. But this is a spot where I can get some upside at wide receiver. I'm excited about him. Harvey, Herbert, Wilson, Gainwell. Kyle's upset. Kittle, Hubbard, and Mike, you're on the clock. By the way, for tight end, I have 4 guys at the back of the draft. When I don't have a top tier name,
there's so many.
There's 4 names at least that I am completely willing to wait till the last one goes. Pitts, Likely, Goddard, and Kincaid. Those 4 names, until that tier is gone, I'm not going to rush it. I'd rather take Concepcion.
I would throw Juwan Johnson in there as well.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
and our manager would throw T.J. Hawkinson in there.
Oh, man.
Gross.
Golly, he is.
He's all in.
I'll tell you who was.
I haven't heard anyone talk about
on the
Hawkinson
draft
this whole year.
He was. When I got to the end of my CBS draft, and you look at the ADP, I scrolled 3 or 4 times, and there's Hawkinson down there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
Hawkinson
crazy.
or Eli Stowers.
Well, there I'll go Hawkinson. Mike, you're on the clock. 4 picks left.
So Cash taking George Kittle there really takes some wind out of the sails, because that would George Kittle in the 8th.
I thought about it.
I'm Kyle Pitts was there at least. I don't know if he'll make it back to you. Is he still there?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking him. So he was.
Oh, come on, Mike. You should do it.
Pua
Standards.
It would help you. Pua is, short area targets.
The running back position, it's like you're grabbing some high level insurance guys, or Tony Pollard is still there.
I mean, that's a great pick for you having Jeremiah Love. Right. Let me make the argument.
Okay.
You have injury prone Dobbins. You have Jeremiah Love, who might not start the year, and you've got Bashaw Tootin, who we may see some committees settling situations to start the year. Whereas Tony Pollard, 8 of 8 opportunities with the starters in the last game, looked good, looked spry down the sideline. That's all I got.
I'm working out some strategy in my head here. So because we're in the 8th, we just have a couple rounds left. I do need my tight end, but at this point, I don't know if I care really who it is. I am going. We always play with an IR spot, which is very important for this draft pick. I'm taking Jordan Tyson, and I'm just going to stash.
I'm sad about that. I was fully expecting him to get back to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which like that. I mean, it's aggressive and early, because Mekhi Lemon went just after.
I would have taken Lemon over Tyson.
Okay.
My dream was to get both those guys at the next turn. They went at this turn, so that was a stupid dream. But yeah, if you do have an IR spot, Jordan Tyson late in drafts is
I
just
would
a
take
nice
him
stash.
over Lemon myself.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would. I just think the pathway is much cleaner, despite the injury. And Lemon, Addison, Lloyd, and Dart off the board. Mike, you're in the 9th.
So trying to look over at my tight end rankings doesn't matter. So Kyle Pitts is there. Dalton Kincaid. I can make the path for Dalton Kincaid to really pay off. Kelsey, if you just want the floor. Ferguson, only if CD or George misses time. Isaiah Likely, that's probably why Andy passed on Pitts, just because he had the Isaiah Likely ripcord. And then, man, running backs are absolutely a disaster at this point. I'll just take one more high upside wide receiver, which we haven't talked about him in quite a while. I'm going to take Huge.
All right, Quentin Johnson. Apparently, you really disappointed Papa Josh. I heard a groan. You
for
can't
Huge?
You can't Huge groan in the
one
9th.
guy I had queued up. So
You had him huge.
Hell yeah.
Swish. I love Michael Keaton.
You can't.
Josh Downs is
can't-
probably such a better pick
You
than Quentin
can't
Johnson.
groan for Huge in the 9th. You can't. Downs, Pollard, Golden. I was targeting Golden.
I was targeting Golden, Downs, and Huge.
Reed, Wandale, and here we go. DK Metcalf off the board. A name popped into my head a moment ago that I'm going to take here. I still have a bunch of Kyle Pitts is there. I'll take Kyle Pitts.
Yeah,
But-
dude, come on, you got it.
Because the other name that I have is going to get to me at the next pick. So
what's that name?
What is that name?
I think Kyle Pitts probably would have as well.
I think it's Tariq Cohen. I think that was the name.
Dinosaur Hunter.
Love that dude.
Mike or Jason, you're on the clock here. You do need a tight end, but otherwise you are free and clear the rest of the
I'm all
way.
right. I ended up with the sloppy leftovers of the Steelers. I was going to take DK Metcalf or Michael Pittman once all the guys that I like are gone. Matthew Golden, Josh Downs, Huge, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, like all those guys better. But, I mean, Metcalf and Pittman is so funny. Like, they are legitimate, highly paid, successful NFL wide receivers who are, I mean, they're being drafted after guys that are injured for the first month of the season.
Pittman should be fine for fantasy.
That was bread on a Pitt sandwich there. Metcalf, Pitts, Pittman. That's crazy. Two top. I mean, that is how we think of Rodgers' production this year. Diggs, Charbonnet, Jason back on the clock. 2 picks left.
This is my late round hopeful target at tight end. Is Dalton Kincaid. Andy's in on Pitts at the end. I'm in on Kincaid at the end. I think Pitts is safer.
Certainly,
Kincaid has, I think, a path to be really, really special.
I can't imagine myself taking Kincaid over Pitts in any situation where. Like Pitts, for all his warts, had a great year.
Oh, Cash.
By the way, I took Romeo Doubs. That was the name I mentioned. Romeo Doubs at 10:03. Cyrus Allen, Aaron Jones, Jalen Coker, Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Algier, Woody Marks off the board.
I was going to
Algier was my next pick.
I was going to bring Algier up to you at this pick, assuming he would be there. Good pick,
I
Cash.
figured I could take Huge and be safe getting Tyler Algier in the 10th, but now when Chris Cash is around, taking my picks.
Sounds like a Wild West villain.
Chris Cash?
Yeah.
Fastest draw on the West.
The side of Mississippi. Christopher Cash.
There you go. You do need the Christopher.
So I need a tight end. Looking through the turn, one of the teams has a tight end, the other one does not. So
I mean, you have the opportunity here, Mike, to take the right pick in Isaiah Likely or the wrong pick in not Isaiah Likely.
Well, there's 2 tight ends that I am perfectly fine going into the year with.
You're going Juwan, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm just at this point.
Yours is funny. If you take Juwan, it's great for your team because when Tyson returns and Juwan's irrelevant,
I just do a little swap ski.
But you'll need a tight end then.
I will. I'm going to take Tank Bigsby.
That was a real left turn out of that conversation between them.
Well, I told you I didn't really care if it was Likely or Juwan Johnson.
Washington, Allen, Nix, Likely, Juwan Johnson in the 11th for Mike.
I'll let Brittany get that.
Kyle Monungai.
Dart Likely stack.
I love that pick in the last round for Papa Josh. Monungai, just because he hasn't been, he's missed some camp, doesn't mean they don't like this guy, that he's not going to have a role. Chris Rodriguez, Dontavian Wicks, Patrick Mahomes off the board as we close this thing out. And Dallas Goedert goes at 11:08. We've got 3 picks left. I have Jonah Coleman queued up. He is the pick at 11:10.
Nice.
And Jason makes his final pick as we close this mock out.
Dontavian Wicks, just real quick, as a really late round sleeper.
I mean, I look at him like Dobbs. So I took Dobbs ahead of him, but both guys should start as the outside wide receiver 2 on good teams.
And it's probably just anecdotal, but it's teammates. But I just saw Barkley talking about Dontavian Wicks, and he's just real. It felt like real genuine. I believe in this player. I can't believe we got him for so cheap. So I think Wicks belongs as a late round sleeper.
That's the first time I have ever seen Omar Cooper drafted in my entire life, outside of rookie drafts.
Caleb Douglas with Jason's final pick, and then terrible final selection.
But how
there.
insane is it? I took Caleb Douglas, a late round drafted guy on a terrible offense. It won't work. Caleb Douglas will not work over a first-round NFL wide receiver this year in Omar Cooper Jr., and I would do it 100 out of 100 times.
Yeah. All right, that is it for today's mock draft. Let's run it back, the rosters here. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Jefferson, Flowers, Concepcion, and Dobbs at my wide receiver position. I like that. Breece Hall, Montgomery, Stevenson, and a late Jonah Coleman. And my onesies, Caleb Williams and Kyle Pitts.
I've got Ken Bone Walker, Josh Jacobs, Travion Henderson, and Blake Corum. I know you wanted to hit that.
I did, but I wasn't on the right screen.
All right.
But
Ken Bone Walker.
I've got A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman, and Caleb Douglas at wide receiver, and then Dak Prescott and Dalton Kincaid in my onesies.
Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, Christian Watson, Huge, and then Jordan Tyson are my wide receivers. Jeremiah Love, Bashal Tootin, J.K. Dobbins, and then Tank Bigsby as insurance are my running backs. Juwanson is my starting tight end for the time being, and then Joe Burrow to go with Jamar Chase.
We got Fantasy Time Machine tomorrow. That's always a fun fan favorite. We've got the bonus episode, the Megala Show on Saturday. If you're in the Phoenix area, a few tickets left, ballerslive.com if you want to jump in on those. I believe there's still a few left, ballerslive.com.
It's like 12, maybe.
And then, don't forget, the Megala Bowl. You're invited. Hosted on Sleeper, largest fantasy football tournament in the world.
In the
Bragging
known
rights,
universe.
Chance at a 2027 Listener League spot, some other special rewards and
Like
prizes.
Ultimate Foot Clan subscription for the rest of your life?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about it and just get the overview of what it is, it's a bunch of separate 12-team leagues that compete against each other to get into the Megala Bowl playoffs. You can go to megalabowl.com. I saw the count this morning, 11,600 entered so far. We'd like to break a record, though. We've got a couple weeks left before the start of the season. I believe the records are just around 21,000.
Yeah.
So megalabowl.com. Otherwise, that is it for today's episode. Let us know in the comments who you think won the draft, which picks you found to be disgusting, and why they were Josh's. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.